large language models like GPT, how you ask a question or prompt can make all the difference, right? Today, we are going to learn differences between three powerful prompting techniques, which are zero shot, one shot, and few shot prompting. And also, we are going to explore what each one means, how they work under the hood, and when to use them effectively. So, actually, prompting is the way we communicate with AI model. It is how we tell the model what we want it to do. Depending on how much information we give the model before asking our question, we categorize these prompts into different types. Today, we focus on three key types. First one, zero shot prompting. Second one shot prompting. Third one, few shot prompting. So each has its own strengths, weakness, and its ideal use cases. So let's start with zero shot prompting, the most straightforward of the three. In zero shot prompting, the model is given no examples of the task it needs to perform. It relies entirely on its pre-trained knowledge to answer the query. For example, consider the prompt translate hello into French. So here the model knows that hello in French is something like bonjour. So it is not because you told it, but because a model learned that during training. So the model uses generalized patterns learned during the training. It doesn't see any input output pairs before answering the task. So it also works best when the task is common or closely related to the data it was trained on. So zero shot prompting is really helpful when you need quick answers without providing context, and also zero shot prompting is really helpful for the task the model likely already knows well, for example translation task, basic classification task, etc. So when time or resources are limited, zero shot prompting is really helpful. But zero shot prompting has also some limitations, like it is less accurate for complex or ambiguous tasks, and also it may produce inconsistent results if the task is not clearly understood by the model. So zero shot prompting is really fast and efficient, but sometimes lack precision when dealing with novel or non-answered tasks. So let's move to one shot prompting. Here, the model is given a single example of the task before being asked to perform it again. For example, you are going to give an input and output as example to the task that you are going to perform using an AI model. So here, the model sees one example and then applies the same logic to the next input. So actually, this type of technique leverages models, pre-trained training, and the single example to the infer the pattern. And also it attempts to generalize based on just one instance. So really, one-shot prompting is useful when you have minimal data but want better accuracy than zero-shot. And also it is really useful for simple rule-based tasks where one example is really enough to show the pattern. And also in scenarios where user input is limited but helpful, one shot prompting is really helpful, but it also has some limitation. So one shot prompting is still risky if the example is misleading or too specific, and also it may not capture nuances or exceptions in more complex tasks. So one shot prompting strikes a balance between simplicity and performance. It gives the model a little help without overwhelming it with the prompt. Finally, we come to few-shot prompting, so the most detailed of the three. Here, the model is given a few examples, usually between 2 to 10, to learn from before tackling the actual task. For example, if you want to do a sentiment analysis task on the given email, then you need to provide some 2 to 10 examples to the model, which we have already done in our previous classes. So you need to provide 2 to 10 examples which contains input as well as output, and finally you give the input data and you give the instruction component, and the model will answer where the pattern is learned from its pre-trained and as well as from the examples given it to. So actually this method mimics in context learning, where the model treats the example as a part of its input and infers the correct behavior. It helps the model to understand nuance, style, or format, and also few shot performance generally improves accuracy with more examples up to a point. So when you should use a few shot prompting, so when the task is complex or ambiguous task where the context is critical but not the task is related to like something critical logic. So for that critical logic purposes or for reasoning purposes, we are going to use some other advanced prompt engineering techniques that you are going to learn in our upcoming tutorials. As of now, for any NLP related task, whether it may be complex or ambiguous task where the context is critical, you can use few shot prompting. And also you can use few shot prompting when task requiring specific format or tone to answer, for example in summarization or in code generation task. And also you can use few shot prompting when you need a high accuracy with a few examples where already examples are available. So it also has some limitations. First thing is it increases token usage, which can be costly in commercial APIs like ChatGPT. So, too many examples may confuse the model or lead to overfitting if the AI model is not so powerful. So, few shot prompting gives the model a clear roadmap. It is like giving someone a mini tutorial before asking them to do something new. Now, let's see the differences between zero shot, one shot, and few shot prompt engineering techniques with respect to number of examples given to them, accuracy that methods give to us, and some use cases, token usage, and the best scenarios. So now when it comes to number of examples, zero shot won't take any examples to perform a task. So for zero shot, zero examples are required. But when it comes to one shot, one example should be there to perform a task. When it comes to few shot prompting, 2 to 10 examples should be there to understand the pattern to mimic the output for the task that you given to an AI model. So now come to accuracy. So zero shot may give accuracy which ranges from low to medium for complex tasks, but for smaller tasks it is really accurate. Now when it comes to one shot, for complex tasks the accuracy may be medium level, but it can give accuracy better than the zero shot prompt because you are giving one example to the AI model. When it comes to few shot, accuracy is really high because model learns from the examples that you give, so that you given. When it comes to use cases, zero shot are used for simple and common tasks. One shot prompting is used for moderately complex tasks. Few shot is especially used for complex or custom tasks. So when it comes to token usage, zero shot prompting uses low tokens because at most scenarios we were dealing with instruction component and input component, and sometimes we may give some context or some output data component as well. So zero shot prompting takes low token usage, but one shot prompting will take a little bit more than zero shot prompting, but it is also considered as a low token usage. So zero shot prompting and one shot prompting uses low token usage, but when it comes to few shot prompting, it may take tokens in the range of like medium to high, because in few shot prompting you need to give a lot of examples. Now, zero shot prompting is really best for when you want quick responses from the AI model. When one shot prompting is really useful for in the cases like rule based tasks, and few shot prompting is really useful when you have some custom instructions to follow the AI model to give an output. So as you can see, the main differences lie in the number of examples provided. For example, zero shot doesn't need examples, one shot needs one example, few shot needs nearly 2 to 10 examples the model should have, and also the resulting accuracy. So the main differences lies in these prompt engineering techniques, lies in the examples provided, the resulting accuracy, and the complexity of the task each method supports, and also token usage and some use cases. So how do you choose the right prompting technique? So ask yourself these questions. So how complex is the task? Like if it is simple and common, go with zero shot prompting. If it requires a bit of context, then try with one shot prompting. If it nuanced or unique, then use few shot prompting. And so the first question is how complex is the task? Based on complexity, you can select the prompting technique. So the second one is you ask the question yourself like, do I have examples to provide to the AI model so that a model will give an output that mimic the examples given to the AI model. So if not, then zero shot is your only option. If yes, even one or two example can improve accuracy significantly, then go with one shot or few shot. So the question one is how complex is the task? The question two is do I have examples to provide? And the question three is cost or speed important? So actually if minimizing tokens or response time is key, prefer zero shot or one shot. But if quality is more important, then go with few shot. So consider is cost or speed important question as well. And final question is consistency crucial? So if for consistent output, especially in production environment, few shot is often preferred. So the question you need to ask in choosing the techniques are like how complex is the task? Do I have examples to provide? Is cost or speed important? Is consistency crucial? So actually these four questions let you to choose a prompt to choose a engineering technique in zero shot, one shot and few shot. Now let's come to some real world applications. Like zero shot, one shot, and few shot are mostly used for natural language processing tasks like sentiment analysis, text generation, Q&A, document summarization, language translations, etc. But the thing is, in zero shot, you are relying completely on the knowledge of the AI model and you are not going to give a single example. So you are going to directly ask the AI model. But in one shot prompting, you are going to give a one example that helps a lot to a less powered AI model. So in few shot prompting, you are going to give a lot of examples to the AI model. So finally, to recap, zero shot is fast and simple but less reliable for complex tasks. One shot adds a single example to guide the model. Few shot provides several examples for higher accuracy and control. So understanding these methods allow you to get the most out of AI tools whether you are building a chatbot, writing code or creating content. So more examples aren't always better, but they can make a big difference when used wisely. So thanks for watching.